Bagaitsu Dumelang. Hey guys, welcome to this edition of the Balcony Dialogues. We are doing episode number 10. Can you believe it? So since we started podcasting last year, November, we've made it a point that every month we at least drop an episode that speaks to either small businesses. We talk about careers, we talk about financial insights, we talk a bit about geopolitics and economic news. The purpose of this episode, I decided to do it because some of you as small business or entrepreneurs, you may be just in a phase where you are looking for a banking product, and at the moment I've picked the top 5 business banking products to help you make an informed decision if you need to decide which product looks suitable for you as an entrepreneur or as a startup. You may also be currently having a business bank account, right? But are you getting value out of it? Are you getting the best value of how much you are paying in? And if also that's the case, how much are you paying versus what the other providers could be charging you? I like this topic really, to talk about these topics, because small businesses, most of the time, you're starting a small business and basically you are transacting from your personal bank account. And often that makes you look very unprofessional as a business, because then it means people are paying money into your personal account, although you are running a business, right? Particularly if it's not a sole proprietor. The other thing I think is just for compliance basis. As far as SARS is concerned, yourself and your small business are two different entities, right? Money coming in your personal bank and going out should be treated strictly as that, and that should come off your personal banking account. So stuff like your groceries, kids' school fees. That means also, if you are running a business, for you to comply and be able to do the most accurate tax returns, you will have to transact business transactions from your business account and not mix the two. Before you even get into the meat of this episode, I just want to make a disclaimer that myself, I'm not an authorized financial provider. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an authorized financial planner. So at any point where you feel that you want to do any changes, by all means, make sure you contact your financial advisor or your banker to that effect. The criteria that I've used, I've tried to make sure that by all means I compare apples to apples. So this is how I've collated this data. I've went through each of these banks' websites, 5 banks. I've looked at Capitec, I've looked at Absas, I've looked at FNB, I've looked at Nedbank, and I've looked at Standard Bank. And then I compared the rates and their offerings, particularly for a small business account. I also made sure that I copy, or rather I compare the most similar products. So in this case, we are looking at accounts where you pay a fixed fee, and then there's additional fees that you pay for transacting. So most of these banks would call it pay as you use or pay as you transact, or some would just call it a business check account. The other critical aspect, and as far as this topic of pricing is concerned, is the fact that you will not always base your decision in choosing a price based on the fact that the service or the product looks cheaper. If it's a product, you'll have to look at the quality of it. If it's a service, you'll focus on the level of customer service that you are getting from that specific provider. So take, for example, a bank in this modern age. It's no longer about you walking inside a cushy branch and a banker approach you and ask you, how can they help you? It has gotten more complex in the sense that customer service gets rated by you picking up a call center, phoning, and needing assistance for a particular service. Or it could be based on your interaction with that bank through their app or through their website. So how interactive, how accurate the information is, what is your customer experience while you are either on a call center in a phone call, or you're looking into the app or the website. How quick is it for you to navigate, to get the information you need? How quick is it for you to transact? How does it make your life easier? Because as an entrepreneur, or even in your personal aspect, you are busy. You want to get inside the app, do what you need to do, and get out without having to fiddle too much with that app. So that is the other thing that we are going to look at before we even look into the topic of pricing. We'll look at the customer service aspect of it. So in this case, I will rate these banks based on my interaction on their apps for those that I've used, and my interaction with the website when I was trying to find the pricing. Was it easy for me to find where the prices are located? And was it also easy for me to understand what the pricing means? Because it has to be as seamless and straightforward as possible for the customer out there. Without even wasting time, I'd first start with my experience as I was interacting in the website to get the pricing for these 5 banks. I'll be honest to say I've never used the banking app for Capitec for as far as business account is concerned. But I've used the NetBank app, I've used NetBank, I've used FNB, and I've used what's the other one? ABSA. So in terms of rating, personally, rating the apps itself, I'll take it years back. FNB used to champion internet banking. They used to be so good at it that they were championing innovation in terms of internet banking, using the app. They even, I think, started with e-wallet. They were the first to play in that market. So they were very innovative. I'm talking about, like, let's say 10 years back. But I think over time they've lost it. So as far as banking app is concerned, I think the best of all the four, because I've never used Capitec business banking app, I think Standard Bank takes it in terms of the interaction. How quick is it for you to transact? The safety of the app. The safety, I mean, authentication and you getting into the app, transacting and getting out. I'd give props to them in terms of that. Number two, I would place it. I would give it to FNB. Although they've lost it, they've lost being the leader in this category. I think it's fair enough to still place them at number two in terms of interaction when using their app. The third place, I'll place it with Nedbank business app. Because I've had much interaction with Standard Bank and FNB, when I was starting to use Nedbank, there's certain things that I started to miss, or certain features that I couldn't get quickly than when using Standard Bank or using FNB. So with FNB or Standard Bank, it's very quick for you to get around the app and get stuff like statements, proof of banking, and all these sorts of things. So I'll place them at number 3. And at number 4, I'll put it at Absa. I think Absa, I find it very difficult for me to get around their app, to be honest. So that's why I would place them at number 4. And for the fact that I had to constantly spend time in learning, and as an entrepreneur, or even at your personal level, you don't want to spend a lot of time digging into things. It has to be quick for you to get around. So yeah, as far as my rating is concerned with using these 5 banks apps, the website, in terms of me searching for pricing, I think Capitec came out tops. It was very easy for me to get the information I wanted, like chop. So I'll give them that. The second, in terms of interaction, I would give it to Nedbank. Their website is also very not difficult for you to get to finding things and finding pricing. The third one, I would give it to Standard Bank. Fourth one, on the website, in the website experience. In fact, I think Standard Bank and FNB almost the same. And unfortunately, it looked like Absa is the most difficult in terms you finding the information you need quickly. I also found their pricing tables like not straight to the forward or straightforward compared to the other 4 banks. So you constantly have to like figure out, what does this mean? And as a customer, you don't need that. You need to get to the information as quick as possible. There's something also that I should have mentioned when I was doing the disclaimer, as it may sound like I'm coming really hard for Absa. It's not really the case. It's just my experience. I'm also one. None of the banks is paying or sponsoring this episode. I'm just doing this episode in the interest of making it easy for small businesses or my community to be able to access this information and share it out there. The information is not made up. There's nothing sinister, or I'm just coming and being objective in terms of what I saw when I was digging when I was digging in their website. The pricing also, it's something that is not made up. It can be verified if you go to each of these banks' websites. So yeah, I can't wait to get to the meat of it, which is pricing. But before you even get to the meat of pricing, I want to talk about also the how I feel like banks should be championing supporting small businesses and informal businesses. They should be creating these platforms that support small businesses. They should be championing ESD programs. They should be going after these small businesses. I'm a person who attend these like small business seminar, conventions. I like to go in line and see what support or what incubation programs are out there. And most of the time, it's the very same banks that comes up. I mean, NetBank is top up there. I like their there's a platform they call Simply Biz, which is a platform or an ecosystem for small businesses. So you register into this website, and when you get in there, you can market your services to your like-minded or similar SMEs, right? Those are the things that we expect from banks, because it means when small businesses grow, they stand to benefit more than anyone else, because when banks grow, it means there's more money circulating the economy, benefiting the very same banks, right? I've also seen Capitec, and they are new into the space, but I like how visible they are. I've seen them quite a lot. Probably it's their strategy of entering this space because they are new in it. They are new in the business banking space. They've done so well in the personal banking space that I wouldn't be surprised when a lot of new businesses and even existing start to switch to Capitec. It's purely because of their visibility. They're out there. They've got branches everywhere. And everyone has a personal, everyone that you meet, I think out of 8 out of 10 people have a Capitec bank account. So they've made it intentional that they are visible. And I think if they continue this way in the business banking sector, they will definitely show your Standard Bank, Absa, Nedbank, and FNB flames as far as this category is concerned. I think traditional big banks like Standard Bank, Absa, FNB, they much appealing to much commercial banks. I mean, much commercial banking products, where they provide banking products for established and well-matured businesses. So their focus really is not, I don't think it's much on small business space. And I think this is where they are going to lose it, because it means they're losing out when small businesses are scaling up and becoming big. Because small businesses, remember, startups start small innovate, especially in the IT space, and they just blow up. So if during my time when I was starting up, I was with a particular bank and they were supporting me, chances are, if my business grow, most likely I'll continue to be loyal to them because they were there supporting me throughout. So I think that's where the big banks are missing out. And props to what I think Nedbank, Capitec, and to some extent FNB are doing to small businesses in particular. I did mention earlier that when you go into these websites and you're looking for pricing, there is a fixed fee that you pay monthly, right? That is not the only amount you're gonna pay. So these are pay as you go or pay as you transact bank accounts. Meaning you're gonna pay the fixed fee, and then as you transact for other services, there are charges for each of these. So I've looked at the basic transactions. I didn't want to look at complex banking solutions because you as a small business, you are most likely going to have very low amount of volumes when you start out. You are doing payments, you are receiving payments into your bank account. You may be having debit orders. You may want to do immediate payments. So I'm purely looking at basic banking services, nothing complex like bank card replacements, overdraft fees, interest on debit or positive bank or cash balances. I'm not looking at forex fees. I'm not looking at anything like that. I'm looking at basic banking services, right? So I've broken it down into 7 categories. So the first one is the monthly fixed fee. The second one we're gonna do or compare is paying the same bank. So transferring from money from bank A to someone using the very same bank A. Transaction fees for paying into another bank, immediate or instant transfer fees. What happens when we draw certain amount of money or 1,000 at an ATM, cash deposit at an ATM, debit order, and the last one is the cash send. I've tried to make sure that I'm comparing apples to apples. So we are looking at you transacting an amount of 1,000 rand for each of these transactions at a go. So over and above the fixed fee that you pay, we're gonna look at you transferring 1,000 rand from same bank into the same bank. How much would the fee be? How much would the fee be or the cost be when you pay from your bank to a different bank, same amount, 1,000 rand? How much would the bank charge you if you are paying 1,000 rand and you want it to be an immediate payment? What would the charge be if you are depositing or your customer is doing a cash transfer from an ATM into your bank account? What would the charge be if you have a debit order of the same amount, 1,000 rand? And lastly, what would it cost you when you do a cash send of the same amount, 1,000 rand? At the end, we'll tally this together and see how each bank on average would charge you for this transaction. It's so shocking to see the difference between the cheapest bank based on my analysis and comparison and the highest bank. I'll start with the bank with the highest fixed fee per month, which is Absa. It's coming at 105 Rand for you to have a pay-as-you-go check account with Absa. They're gonna charge you 105 Rand per month. Remember, this is very important. This is a monthly fixed fee. The second highest bank is FNB. Their business current account will charge you 99 Rand fixed fee per month. The second highest would be Standard Bank. They will charge you something like slightly lower than FNB at 95 Rand per month for a business check account. The second cheapest is Nedbank at 75 Rand per month. And obviously, the cheapest is the new entrant, Capitec, which will cost you only 50 Rand. Yeah, it is what it is. It turns out Capitec will cost you 50 Rand per month for a fixed fee for their business banking account. It's interesting because they are the new players into the space, and if you consider the pricing for Absa, which is 105 Rand per month, this means you pay double than what you'd be paying at Absa than what you'd be paying at Capitec, which makes it very interesting. And 4 other banks, so FNB, I mentioned it charges you 99 Rand, a fixed fee. Standard Bank, 95 Rand, a fixed fee. And then Nedbank charges you 75 Rand, fixed fee per month. I've also extended the analysis further to say what would happen if I had 5 bank accounts across all these banks, and then I make the same exact transactions in a month for each of these banks. So I pay the fixed fee, I do a transfer from my current bank into another account of the same bank, I make another transfer from my business bank into another bank, I do a cash deposit of the same fee at an ATM into the business bank, I do an immediate transfer, I do a debit order. What would it cost me on average to transact across these banks? Interestingly, the banks with the lower fixed fee, they have the lower other transaction fees. So this can be seen on this analysis that I'm going to show, where Capitec still comes the lowest on average, followed by Nedbank, Standard Bank, FNB, and Absa still comes out more expensive in other transactional services. I think it's also very important for me to mention that the only thing that I didn't like a bit about the Capitec small business account is the fact that you always need to have an amount of 150 rand in the account. So you can't exhaust whatever that you have. You need to have a bit left, so that is 150. Across the other banks, there is no such a transaction, or there is no such a condition that you need to leave this specific amount of money. In closing, I want to talk about the responsibility of corporates, not just banks, in making sure the small businesses are flourishing. So I spoke about how banks need to support small businesses, but to the similar effect, the private sector needs to also come on board in terms of ESD programs, incubations, funding, and even giving business to small businesses, because that's how we are going to grow our economy. Government also have to make sure that the conditions for running a small business in South Africa, there isn't too much red tape, in such a way that is very flexible and fluid. In that manner, then it means collectively, corporates, government, your SARS, if they make it easy for small businesses to flourish, then it means they can expand quickly and gain momentum and grow. If you look at what's happening in other countries like China and the USA, it's very easy for small businesses to transact there, because it is made intentional that what drives the economy would be small businesses, including large enterprises. But if there's too much gap between the larger enterprises and the small businesses, then that's why there's disconnect and there's so much low economic growth for our economy. It's because it's almost like we've neglected the informal and small businesses. The last thing that I just want to talk about is to appeal to you guys to support my podcast, The Balcony Dialogues, TBD. I want to grow in terms of subscriptions, and the more I grow, the more I'll be able to give you the best content. I'll be able to employ more freelancers to assist me in the platform. I'll be able to also be in a position where I can monetize. I can also bring more content creators into the platform, more people or professionals for interviews, and so forth and so forth. So I really can't wait to see this platform grows, us growing together as a community. For those who've been with me since last year, I am so grateful, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you guys. Pula. See you in the next episode. Bye.